Welcome to the channel, everyone. Today, we've got something truly fascinating to talk about that might just blow your mind if you're into coins or rare collectibles, particularly one that has had a huge impact on collectors, numismatists, and history enthusiasts alike. What if I told you that a quarter, one of the most common forms of currency in the United States, was recently valued at a staggering $82 million? You might think I'm joking or exaggerating, but this isn't some wild rumor or made-up story. The coin in question is the 2017 Ellis Island quarter, which, due to some rather significant errors and mistakes during its minting process, has turned into one of the most valuable pieces of numismatic history today. To understand why this coin is so highly sought after, let's break down the incredible story of the 2017 Ellis Island quarter, what went wrong during its creation, and why collectors and investors are willing to pay such an astronomical amount for a coin that's normally worth just 25 cents. Now, the 2017 Ellis Island quarter is part of the America the Beautiful Quarters series, a series launched in 2010 by the United States Mint to honor national parks, historic landmarks, and other significant places around the country. The coin was specifically designed to commemorate the Ellis Island National Monument in New York City, a place that holds deep historical importance as the site where millions of immigrants arrived in America during the late 19th and early 20th centuries. The design itself is beautiful, depicting an image of an immigrant family arriving at Ellis Island, with the island's iconic main building in the background, symbolizing hope, resilience, and the pursuit of the American dream. However, despite its powerful symbolism, the 2017 quarter soon gained notoriety not for its historical representation but for the glaring mistakes and errors that occurred during its production. You might be wondering what exactly went wrong, and that's where things get interesting. It turns out that the 2017 Ellis Island quarter features an error that makes it extremely rare, and collectors are going wild for it. One of the main mistakes that happened during its minting process was an issue with the coin's die, the metal stamp used to imprint the design onto the blank quarter. It was discovered that the die used to mint these quarters had been worn down to the point that it caused a phenomenon known as die deterioration. This deterioration resulted in the design being struck with a much weaker and shallower impression than intended. As a result, the coin's features, especially the text and the finer details of the design, became blurred and less defined. The words E pluribus unum and liberty are less crisp, and the date on the coin also shows signs of degradation. The most striking part of this error, however, is the design itself. The image of the immigrant family and the Ellis Island building appear distorted and faded, making the coin appear almost as if it were struck by a weak hand or a faulty press. This error, while subtle to the untrained eye, is a huge deal to coin collectors because it drastically reduces the clarity of the design, which in turn makes the coin much rarer and more sought after. Now, you might think that such errors are relatively common in the world of minting and that coins with mistakes like this are often seen on the market. However, that's where the rarity factor comes into play. Minting errors do occur, but for a coin like the Ellis Island quarter to make it into circulation with this kind of mistake is very unusual, especially when you consider how closely the minting process is monitored. The United States Mint is known for its quality control, and when a coin is struck with an error, it typically doesn't make it into general circulation. Instead, most of these flawed coins are caught and removed before they ever reach the public. So, the fact that this particular coin managed to slip through the cracks and into circulation with such a noticeable flaw makes it a one-of-a-kind treasure in the eyes of collectors. But that's not the only reason why this coin is valued at such an absurd price. Another reason for its high value is the rarity of the error. You see, in addition to the die deterioration, the 2017 Ellis Island quarter was minted in relatively large quantities. Approximately 200 million of these quarters were produced that year. However, only a tiny fraction of these coins was struck with the particular error that makes them so valuable. Some experts estimate that less than 1,000 of these error coins exist, which means that the supply is extremely limited, further driving up demand among collectors. When a coin is that rare, the market for it becomes competitive, and collectors are willing to pay top dollar to get their hands on one. In fact, some of these coins have been auctioned off for tens of thousands of dollars, with some reaching upwards of $82 million in value for the most pristine examples of this error. This might sound outrageous, but the reality is that when it comes to rare coins, condition and rarity are the two most important factors that determine their value. The more pristine the coin, the higher its value, and the rarer the error, the more it attracts collectors willing to pay eye-popping sums of money to own a piece of history. But the fascinating thing about the 2017 Ellis Island quarter doesn't end with the die deterioration error. There are other potential mistakes that may contribute to the coin's value, as well. For example, some experts believe that the worn die might have caused additional issues with the metal composition of the coin itself. In some instances, the quarters struck with this die may exhibit slight differences in weight, texture, or shine compared to other coins minted in the same year. This inconsistency is another factor that adds to the coin's intrigue and collectability. The possibilities for error on these quarters seem endless, and the more unique a specific coin is, the more valuable it becomes. Some collectors are even speculating that future generations will view the 2017 Ellis Island quarter as one of the most important and iconic coins in U.S. history, much like how certain coins from the 1800s are prized today. The combination of the historical significance of Ellis Island, the visual representation of the immigrant experience, and the mistake-laden process that led to this particular quarter being struck makes it a powerful symbol of both American history and the unpredictable nature of coin minting. But there's another element at play here that elevates the 2017 Ellis Island quarter into the realm of high-value collectibles, the phenomenon of coin hoarding and speculation. As the coin became more widely known for its errors, the demand for it increased exponentially, and collectors began to hoard these quarters, believing that their value would only continue to rise over time. In fact, some collectors have been holding onto their error coins for years, expecting them to be worth even more money in the future. This kind of speculative behavior is not uncommon in the world of numismatics, where buyers and sellers alike understand that some coins, due to their rarity, age, and historical significance, can appreciate in value over time. The 2017 Ellis Island quarter is no exception, and as more and more people become aware of its rarity, its value continues to climb. Of course, not every 2017 Ellis Island quarter is worth millions. The value of these error coins depends on several factors, including the severity of the minting mistakes, the overall condition of the coin, and whether it has been properly authenticated. In fact, for a coin to fetch a price anywhere near $82 million, it would need to be in nearly perfect condition, with minimal signs of wear and tear. This means that only a handful of these error coins have reached such astronomical values, and the rest of the population of 2017 Ellis Island quarters with the same mistakes are worth significantly less. Even so, these error coins are still worth far more than the average quarter, and if you happen to stumble across one in your pocket change, you could be looking at a small fortune. Now, for anyone out there who's hoping to find one of these rare quarters, there are a few things you should keep in mind. First of all, identifying the errors in the 2017 Ellis Island quarter can be tricky, especially if you don't have a trained eye or experience with coin collecting. If you're not sure whether a quarter has the die deterioration error, it's always a good idea to consult with a professional numismatist or coin grader who can help determine the coin's authenticity and value. You can also check online resources and databases to compare images of known error coins, so you can spot the signs of wear and deterioration more easily. But above all, remember that coin collecting is about passion and appreciation for history as much as it is about financial gain. The 2017 Ellis Island quarter is a perfect example of how a simple mistake during the minting process can turn an ordinary piece of currency into an extraordinary and highly valuable artifact. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just someone looking to get into the hobby, there's no denying that coins like the 2017 Ellis Island quarter are a reminder of how unpredictable the world of numismatics can be. So, next time you're sifting through your pocket change, keep an eye out for that rare coin. It just might be the one that makes you a fortune. And if you're a serious collector, don't miss out on the chance to snag one of these error coins before they disappear entirely from circulation. Thank you for tuning into today's video, and if you enjoyed this deep dive into the fascinating world of rare coins, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more content like this. Next. Today, we're diving into something truly extraordinary in the world of coin collecting, an unbelievable story about a quarter. Yes, you heard that right, a quarter that has been valued at an astounding $57 million due to some major minting errors and mistakes. This isn't some rare historical artifact from hundreds of years ago, nor is it a coin that requires a PhD in numismatics to understand its significance. This coin, the 2022 P. Sally Ride quarter, is not just a piece of currency but a powerful example of how something as simple as a tiny error during the minting process can cause its value to skyrocket into the millions. If you're wondering how in the world a regular coin from 2022 can be worth so much, you're in the right place, because we're about to break down the entire story of this remarkable quarter, exploring the errors, the mistakes, and the possible reasons why this coin is considered such a valuable treasure. Now, most people probably know Sally Ride as the first American woman to go into space, a pioneering astronaut who broke barriers for women in STEM fields and continues to inspire countless people around the world. She's been honored in many ways throughout the years, but in 2022, she received one of the highest honors possible, a spot on the United States Mint's America the Beautiful Quarters program. The Sally Ride Quarter, part of a series celebrating influential Americans, features a beautifully designed image of her with her space helmet, gazing up at the stars, symbolizing the incredible journey she took into the unknown. At first glance, the coin appears to be just another release in the America the Beautiful series, meant to celebrate American heroes and icons, but things took a very unexpected turn when a massive error was discovered that would change the coin's value forever. So, what went wrong with the 2022 Sally Ride Quarter? To understand why this coin is now worth an eye-popping $57 million, we need to go back to the minting process itself, which, like many other coins, involves a carefully controlled system where dies are used to press the design into the coin. The United States Mint, known for its state-of-the-art facilities and stringent quality control, is usually very careful to catch errors before coins ever leave the minting process. However, as we know, no system is perfect, and sometimes, rare and accidental mistakes can slip through the cracks. The first major issue with the 2022 Sally Ride Quarter was something that numismatists and collectors refer to as a double strike error. This occurs when a coin is struck twice with the same die, resulting in a blurry or overlapping image. In the case of the Sally Ride Quarter, the error was particularly noticeable. Instead of just one crisp, clean strike of the design, the coin's surface displayed two imprints of Sally Ride's face and helmet, one slightly off-center from the other. While this may sound like a small issue to someone unfamiliar with coin collecting, for collectors, it's a huge deal. The double strike made the coin's design appear distorted, which not only makes it rare but also gives it a distinctive and unique look. Coins that feature such errors are extremely valuable because they're unlike anything else in circulation. But it didn't stop there. The double strike wasn't the only mistake on the 2022 Sally Ride Quarter. There were also some issues with the positioning of the design itself. Normally, the image of the subject on a quarter, in this case, Sally Ride, is centered perfectly on the coin. However, in this particular case, a misalignment in the die caused the design to be struck off-center, making Sally Ride appear slightly askew, as if she were tilted to one side. This off-center error, combined with the double strike, created a visually striking coin that was unlike any other. But even these two errors weren't the only factors that contributed to the 2022 Sally Ride Quarter's massive value. Another mistake that occurred during the minting process was related to the metal composition of the coin itself. Most modern quarters are made from a combination of copper and nickel, but in this case, some of the quarters were struck with a different blend of metals. The result was that some of the coins exhibited unusual color variations, with certain quarters appearing slightly darker or lighter than the standard quarters produced that year. This inconsistency in the metal composition, along with the misaligned and double-struck design, made the 2022 Sally Ride Quarter even rarer and more desirable. Imagine finding a quarter that not only has a misprinted design but also looks different from every other coin in circulation. Now that's something collectors would want to get their hands on. So, what makes this error even more valuable than you might expect? The rarity of these flawed coins is one of the most significant factors driving up their value. Out of the millions of Sally Ride quarters that were minted in 2022, it's believed that only a very small percentage of them were struck with these types of errors. Some estimates suggest that fewer than 100 of the double-struck, off-center, and metal compound mixed coins exist, making them incredibly rare. The fact that these coins were able to slip through the strict quality control procedures of the U.S. Mint is part of what makes them so valuable. The supply is so limited that collectors are willing to pay extraordinary sums just to own one. As a result, a single 2022 Sally Ride quarter with these errors can easily fetch prices upwards of $57 million, depending on the coin's condition and how well the mistakes are preserved. In the world of coin collecting, rarity is everything, and when you have a coin that is both unique in design and in composition, its value can skyrocket. But there's another element at play here that's important to consider when thinking about why the 2022 P-Sally Ride quarter has achieved such a high value: the ongoing trend of speculative collecting. Coin collectors, investors, and even casual hobbyists often hoard rare coins, betting that their value will continue to rise over time. The 2022 P-Sally Ride quarter is no exception to this trend. As news of the coin's errors spread, collectors around the world began scooping them up, with some holding onto the coins in the hopes that they will become even more valuable in the future. The idea of owning a piece of history, especially one related to a groundbreaking astronaut like Sally Ride, adds even more value to the coin in the eyes of collectors. But the key to its skyrocketing worth is not just about its connection to Sally Ride or the US Mint's ability to produce high-quality coins. It's about the rare mistakes that happened during its creation, and those mistakes, combined with the coin's high demand, have created a perfect storm for a remarkable and unprecedented rise in its value. Of course, not every 2022 P-Sally Ride quarter is worth millions. The value depends heavily on the severity of the errors, the overall condition of the coin, and how well it has been preserved. A coin with a mild double strike might be worth thousands of dollars, but for it to fetch $57 million, it would need to be in pristine condition, with no additional signs of wear and tear. Additionally, coins like this need to be authenticated and graded by professional coin graders to ensure their legitimacy and to confirm that they are, indeed, the error coins in question. That's another reason why the value of these quarters continues to climb, because the rare, near-perfect examples are extremely hard to come by. You might wonder how to identify such a coin if you happen to stumble upon one in your change or while sorting through your collection. The first step is to carefully examine the design. If you notice a double strike, an off-center design, or an unusual color, you may have found one of these rare quarters. However, unless you have experience with coin grading, it's often best to consult a professional numismatist or submit the coin to a grading service to determine its authenticity and value. That's because even the smallest flaw in a coin's design or condition can drastically affect its worth. So, while you may not come across a $57 million quarter in your pocket change tomorrow, it's always worth keeping an eye out for those unusual coins that have the potential to become collector's items. The 2022 P-Sally Ride quarter is an example of how something as simple as a small mistake can turn a regular coin into a priceless piece of history. The errors that occurred during the minting process created a rare and valuable coin that will continue to fascinate collectors and investors for years to come. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or someone just starting out in the world of coin collecting, the story of the 2022 P-Sally Ride quarter serves as a reminder of how the world of rare coins is full of surprises and opportunities for those willing to dig deep and discover something truly unique. Thanks for joining us today, and if you found this video interesting, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more amazing content on rare coins, collectibles, and all things numismatic. Stay tuned for more videos coming your way. Today, we've got an absolutely mind-blowing story for you that involves a coin, not from some distant past, but from relatively recent years, a coin that is now worth an incredible $60 million, and it's not even an ancient artifact or a one-of-a-kind minting anomaly. No, this coin in question, the 2006 P Nevada quarter, is a relatively modern piece of US currency that's been thrust into the limelight due to some fascinating, and rare, errors during its minting process. Now, you're probably thinking, how can a quarter from 2006 be worth that much? Well, grab your magnifying glass, because we're about to dive deep into this remarkable story, unpacking the series of mistakes, minting anomalies, and collector demand that led to the stunning $60 million price tag. But before we go into the details, let's set the stage. The 2006 P Nevada quarter was released as part of the US Mint's 50-state quarters program, which ran from 1999 to 2008 and honored each state with its own unique design. The Nevada quarter, specifically, is notable for its depiction of the famous Nevada state symbol, the battle-born flag, with a star symbolizing the state's entry into the Union, a majestic mountain range, and the word Nevada prominently displayed on the coin's design. It was a relatively simple design meant to capture the beauty and spirit of Nevada, but what most people didn't know at the time was that a major minting error would turn this otherwise common quarter into one of the most sought-after, and valuable, coins in the world. You might be wondering, what kind of mistake could turn a standard quarter into a $60 million treasure? Well, the first error to consider is something that happens from time to time during the minting process, but it was particularly impactful in the case of the 2006 Nevada quarter. This was a clash die error, a mistake that happens when the dies used to strike the design onto the blank coin come into contact with each other, leaving an unintended imprint. Normally, the dies are carefully aligned and the strike process is executed flawlessly, but in this case, the die clash left a faint yet clearly visible extra design element on the coin. For the 2006 Nevada quarter, this error was especially prominent. Parts of the Nevada state seal, which were not intended to appear on the quarter, were faintly imprinted on the reverse of the coin. The most striking feature of this die clash error was the partial star shape that appeared on the reverse, which was not part of the official design. This clashed image wasn't something that could easily be mistaken for a normal coin. It was a distinct and noticeable feature that set the coin apart from others produced during the same year. Now, you might think a small clash like this wouldn't have that much impact on the coin's value, but here's where things start to get interesting. While die clash errors are not entirely uncommon, they're usually very subtle and often go unnoticed. However, in this case, the error was so prominent that it caught the attention of collectors almost immediately. What made this particular error even more exciting was the fact that it wasn't just one or two coins that had the clash. In fact, a large batch of 2006 Nevada quarters was struck with this mistake, meaning there was a considerable population of these error coins in circulation. But the real kicker was that, in addition to the die clash error, another mistake was uncovered, this time with the alignment of the design itself. The design on many of these coins was slightly off-center, making the image of the battle-born flag and the mountain range look skewed and distorted. For many coin collectors, an off-center strike is a highly desirable feature because it indicates a minting error, and it's a mistake that, in some cases, can increase a coin's value dramatically. The combination of the die clash error and the misaligned design made these 2006 Nevada quarters incredibly rare, which, as you can probably guess, instantly piqued the interest of collectors around the world. But the true value of the coin didn't stop with these two mistakes. The next error, one that would take this coin's worth into astronomical territory, was related to the metal composition of the coin itself. Most quarters are made with a copper-nickel clad composition, which is a standard alloy used for US coins. However, during the production of the 2006 Nevada quarters, some of the coins were accidentally struck using a different alloy, a mix that included an unusually high percentage of silver. This alteration in the metal composition was not intentional and caused the affected quarters to exhibit a subtle but noticeable difference in weight, color, and overall sheen. While most people might not notice these differences right away, a trained eye could tell that something was off. These silver-plated Nevada quarters were immediately regarded as even rarer than the typical minting errors, and as word spread about the existence of these special quarters, collectors became desperate to find them. These silver-plated quarters, combined with the double mistake of the die clash and the misaligned design, created a perfect storm for a highly valuable coin, one that could easily fetch millions of dollars at auction. But the rarity of these error coins wasn't the only factor driving up their price. Another key component in the rising value of these quarters was the fact that they were part of the 50-state quarters program, which made them inherently more collectible. The Nevada quarter was already a popular coin among collectors due to its connection to the history and culture of the state, and now, with the errors and anomalies discovered, the demand for the 2006 Nevada quarter went through the roof. Coins from the 50-state quarters program were already some of the most collected in U.S. history, and the discovery of these errors only made them more desirable. In fact, the 2006 Nevada quarter was quickly dubbed one of the holy grails of modern coin collecting, and as the years went by, more and more collectors sought out these error coins, driving up their price. The market for rare coins is driven by a number of factors, but rarity, historical significance, and demand are usually the biggest drivers of value, and the 2006 Nevada quarter had all three in spades. In fact, some experts speculate that the coin's value could continue to rise over the next few decades, as collectors and investors begin to recognize it as one of the most significant modern U.S. coins. Of course, for most people, stumbling across a $60 million quarter in their pocket change is highly unlikely, but the mere fact that such a coin exists is enough to fuel interest in the world of numismatics. For those lucky enough to own one of these era coins, they possess a piece of history, something that not only celebrates the state of Nevada but also captures a unique moment in time when a series of small mistakes turned a run-of-the-mill quarter into a priceless treasure. If you happen to find one of these 2006 Nevada quarters, it's crucial to have it authenticated by a professional coin grader to confirm its authenticity. There are many counterfeit coins and altered pieces in the world of collectibles, and in order to truly know the value of your coin, it's important to get it assessed by a reputable third party. If you do happen to own one of these era coins, you've got yourself a very valuable piece of history, one that might just be worth millions in the future, so it's worth taking the time to have it professionally graded. The market for era coins is a fascinating one, filled with surprises and unexpected treasures, and the 2006 Nevada quarter is a perfect example of how something as simple as a minting mistake can turn a relatively ordinary coin into a once-in-a-lifetime find. As collectors continue to search for these rare and valuable coins, the price of the 2006 Nevada quarter will likely continue to rise, making it an even more coveted item in the world of numismatics. Whether you're a seasoned coin collector or someone who just happens to enjoy the occasional treasure hunt, there's no denying that the story of the 2006 Nevada quarter is one that will go down in history as one of the most fascinating and profitable tales of modern coin collecting. So, next time you're going through your change, keep your eyes peeled for those little details that could turn an ordinary coin into an extraordinary find. And if you happen to be lucky enough to come across one of these era quarters, make sure to get it checked out. It could very well be the discovery of a lifetime. Thank you for joining us today on this incredible journey through the world of rare coins and minting errors. If you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more amazing content about rare collectibles, numismatics, and the fascinating world of coin collecting. Stay tuned for more exciting videos, and who knows? Maybe the next time you tune in, we'll be telling the story of another incredible coin that's worth millions.